Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Okay, we are
Okay.
live.
What's up, people? Welcome to Feature Friday Plus. This week we've got a pretty cool guest here with
Yes.
us. That's somebody that we've trying to be keep up in touch for a long time now. We've been following Keith's work, Mr. Spaceman.
AKA Spaceman, huh?
It's so
Hey,
good
man.
to have you in. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. You guys, man, like I said, you guys are inspiring. Thanks for having me.
Oh
I
no,
love the
such a
energy
pleasure.
already. I love the energy. So
No, thanks for coming on. How's how are the things going on in what state you on?
Nevada.
Nevada. How, everything with the whole the whole end of the world
Lockdown and
situation, all
stuff.
that stuff.
oh man, you already know it's difficult. It's
Right.
difficult. But I'm fairly new to Nevada, Las
Okay.
Vegas, but I got some good people out here, some good artists and
That's
a
good.
close circle, kind of close circle. So we're kind of just keeping trying to stay inspired and just, get through this COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to maintain, what I mean, being an independent artist and all that. So
Yeah, that was actually it's interesting you bring that up, like the whole independence thing. We were just talking to actually off air, and we were just talking about this sort of idea. You know how you get a lot of artists now coming up, and we're part of that sort of that demographic, if you like. And sometimes you're presented with that idea. You see it from people like, for example, Ross. He achieved independence really early on, and then he signed, and then you see all these artists sort of like try to chase for that deal, and then but there's also that talk of maybe you're signing with the devil. You're selling your soul, that whole thing. Where do you stand? Like where it comes to, is your independence one of the things you cherish the most, or it's you do think it's a worth path going forward when it comes to trying to get mainstream and chase those labels and things like that?
Oh, good question. Good question. Personally, I focus on building what I can control. If that makes sense. So like I want to build my brand up like
Right.
you guys, you know what I'm saying? build that platform and then work with artists that I can just not have to rely on anybody else outside
Right.
our circle or anything like that. So if I can build a foundation with artists and then myself, you don't gotta worry about labels. But if the money's right, if the situation's right with a label,
Absolutely.
Of course.
consider it. But when that time comes, I'm not even worried about that right now. I'm just worried about like focusing on the music and trying to maintain my close relationships with these artists. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Honestly, I follow you on Instagram, and ever since I came across your music and like how you produce and stuff, I was like, this guy has so much depth. Like you got so much depth when it comes to like a beat production, and like your inspirations and things translate so well in your music. Like I really like creating with stuff that has so much foundation, like you said, so much core. So thank you for creating. Honestly, it's such a like this week we decided to do a song with one of your tracks, and it's always such an easy one to go off of. It's like you inspire us by making such great music, and it comes off natural. It's such a pleasure, honestly.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you. Every time you guys hit me up with new music that you make to my beats, it's kind of like a surprise because I don't get no warning or anything like that. It's like, oh, we got a music video coming out. And I'm like, oh, wow. So it's very, I'm very glad you guys can connect with my music and then take it even farther. You know what I'm saying? Because at first it's just a beat and something I get inspired by, but you guys add lyrics and your visuals and your whole vibe to it. So
You're
I
such
appreciate that.
No need to thanks, man. Because the thing is, I think most people, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but like you're such an important part of the whole ecosystem of YouTube.
Absolutely.
Because,
and like to music overall.
Producers like yourself who not only produce, but and this is one of the things that I think has been so amazing about YouTube in this last sort of evolution of beat production and things like that in the last 5-6 years. Of you have so many beat makers, there's so much competition. So do share like your website and all that stuff. We'll put it down below.
Definitely plug all your stuff in here.
And all those things, just so people can sort of get access to your stuff and Insta and all that
Oh,
stuff.
you want me to type it? I can just say it or.
Wait,
You can tell
yeah,
this to us later.
we'll
We'll put
type it
it
and
on
we'll
the.
put it like
Okay,
in the
later,
pin comment
later.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're such a like important part, I feel, to the whole ecosystem of YouTube. You know, you have rappers come out of YouTube now. You have singers come out of YouTube like left and right. And my I guess the question is like why what was your first like initiative to create, you know, back when you were first even doing it before, you know, there was any monetary gain from it? What made you try to make beats?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, that's a great question, and I've been practicing this answer. You know what
I
I'm saying?
didn't want it to feel
Like
like a fucking
my whole
interview. You
life
know
I've
what I
been
mean?
practicing. Yeah, like sometimes I just sit there and pretend like I'm in an interview, like the Breakfast Club or something,
Hey,
like like you
exactly
give me
like
an
us,
outlet,
man.
you gotta visualize it. So I did that for
Hey,
a
you
while.
be
Absolutely.
you
But
can
to keep a long story short, because I'm a little older, um, I was in band growing up. I was in
Right.
band. I was a band nerd. I was in jazz band. I played drumline and I played the drums.
nice, very
Drum
Nice,
set.
nice.
nice.
Yeah, so it was kind of random. So I picked those extracurricular activities growing up in middle school and high school. So, but then I grew up and kind of left it alone. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, working a 9 to 5, and then, but it always kind of kept with me. I always kind of fiddled with music. Always had like some type of drum machine or computer program.
Nice.
And then one day I was like, man, I hate this job I'm doing.
Right.
Like you know the grind, the
Yeah,
nine
Of
to
of
course,
five
of
course,
course.
grind.
of course.
And like, so I was like, man, if I'm gonna struggle, I might as well struggle doing something I love doing. So
Preach that. Amen. I
yeah,
love
you know what I'm saying?
that.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like,
It's quite
when
bizarre
I
though,
made
isn't
that,
it? So sorry to interrupt you, but it's quite bizarre how it's very scary. Obviously, you know, the
Taking that
whole
leap, yeah.
very very scary, but it
yeah,
it it's really like I don't
So
know.
rewarding though
Yeah,
after.
and it's also sort of this idea of I'm not just you're not just now being part of something. You're now creating something.
That is yours. It's like an extension of yourself. It's so dope.
yeah, 100%. It's very scary. It took me years
Yeah.
to actually work up the nerve to leave.
Right.
And I was like, man. So once I made that decision, I put a plan in place, and I actually wrote down everything. Like, it's gonna take 5 years to leave this job,
Right.
to save up, to plan, to make my YouTube, to get my
So
branding right.
calculated risk then, you know.
Calculated risk.
With
You
my,
can't
yeah.
just leave. You
No,
can't
no.
Yeah,
just
no,
like
no,
take a leap.
definitely.
Yeah.
You gotta say, how far is that jump? Let me calculate a little bit, so when I kind of fall, I can kind of make it over there. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you
Definitely.
gotta plan. You gotta plan a little bit. So, but all music was always there. My parents weren't into music. They weren't musicians, but they had records playing around the house. But I don't know. It's just kind of stuck with me. It was kind of random. I just kind of ran with it
It's
because it was just always there. Music was just always there.
it's crazy how like when you see like because a lot of our friends, you know, it's kind of maybe sometimes similar stories. Of sometimes they were in band or they choir or maybe
Hmm.
they just did music in school. You know, they picked up
Especially
instruments,
being back
Mhm.
home in such a Catholic environment, like being part of like the church
church
choir or
choir.
like
You
the
know,
church band
Yeah.
and stuff.
it's so nuts how
So
those
crazy.
moments in your early age
They
like
really
mark
mark
you
you.
insanely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's so important. I truly believe like we need to save uh these programs in school,
Yeah,
like these
definitely.
music programs, and give kids like an outlet, man, because it's important. Because if it wasn't for that, like I don't know what I would be doing.
Yeah,
I
But
don't like I don't know what I was doing because that's
it's
kind
true.
of what started it. Yeah, you know what I mean. So
That's so
yeah,
cool. That's such a cool
it's a
beginning.
hard idea to sell though, isn't it? Because like if people don't see the stories of 7 years down the line, of 10 years down the line,
Mm.
they always focus on, you know, the person that maybe was in high school, then didn't go to college and then blew up. And then those are the ones they focus on. But then there's so many stories of how this kid was in choir. You know, maybe I was someone that I started with poetry and that somehow led, you know, poetry class and that somehow led to
So
rapping.
true.
You know what I mean?
It's
hmm
kind of bizarre
And
though when you think about it.
who the
It's a
hell
weird
would have known? Yeah, who
progression.
the hell would have known a poetry class in primary school was the thing that was going to lead me to words? And I really enjoyed that. But, you know, obviously, because we're not at that huge level of, you know, fame and all the any other stuff, it's hard to
right.
then, I'd like to save poetry classes in schools because it impacts kids and it really does. You know,
It does.
it's a hard idea to sell, but you're so right about it. It's
It's like I feel like I read somewhere online the other day that the first 7 years of your life are the ones that shape the rest of your adulthood. Like as you progress in life, like those first 7 years are the ones that stuck with you as you grow older, and I think they solidify as you go like into
Yeah,
adolescence and stuff. So when you're a teenager and things that you were a bit insecure about when you were a kid, like they amplify and they become a thing when you're an adult
Exactly.
later. So weird though. And it all starts with like you said, like being in the band or being in the choir or seeing people around you that it
Yeah.
was somehow inspiring to you in the music industry. It's so dope though.
Yeah, it's all who you hang around with. It's all who you,
That's right.
it's all who you hang around with, and it's you gotta be thankful for parents, playing records. You gotta be thankful for all these influences in your life, no matter what it is. Like it all plays a part. It's all
Listen,
connected.
hey, hold on. You mentioned records. What type of records were you listening
I
to
was
when you were
gonna
a kid?
say, what are your influences like?
Because I want
Oh,
to have some
like
of those. I want to have some of that juice you got going on.
uh, nah. Growing up, my dad was like a big reggae guy. Like he was in the reggae and then soul records. Got the James Browns and
Hell
the
yeah.
Temptations.
Nice.
The top five soul groups. You know what I'm saying, like Aretha Franklin. He had those records,
Oh, I
vinyls
actually don't
playing.
know.
You
I
don't
don't think
know
I've ever heard.
who?
River
Yeah,
Flag. Never. I don't think I have.
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, never.
Oh hell yes, you have. You just don't
You
relate.
heard it.
You
Yeah,
don't
You
relate the
heard it.
song like this the name to music, but I
yeah.
play it. I
We
play it often.
Keith, we found out apparently I'm horrendous with names. So maybe I have heard it, or
I'm,
maybe I
I'm,
haven't.
I know for a fact you've heard her music, man.
No, definitely no. He
Yeah,
definitely has.
I hope so.
We grew up in the same household. He definitely had. Like
yeah.
that is a must. Like
And what about now? What type of records have you sort of, or what
Um,
type of music are you on now? Like,
ooh.
right now, I got some records for y'all, man. Hold on.
We got some exhibition happening.
oh, you still have physical copies and everything. Damn.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to build my record collection back up because I back in the day I sold all my records because well actually I traded them for these car speakers. I don't know, it's so stupid. It's so the big old subwoofers in the back of your trunk. People, yeah, that was
That
me.
makes your head shake and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm really into this guy right here, man. He's a goat. He's a
Ooh,
jazz guitar player.
nice.
George,
Yeah,
what is that? Oh, Gaboy Zabo.
yep.
I've never heard of that. You might have to put me
Yeah,
on that, man.
yeah, it's
It's
dope.
it's a lot of guitar and easy listening jazz.
Nice.
Just like vibey music, good to sample, just good to listen to,
Very
pretty much.
nice.
Listen to a lot of him, and then what else I got? I got a bunch of like jazz and soul, man. I'll send a list
Nice.
to you guys.
Thank you. Thank
I'll
you.
send a list.
No,
But
honestly, it's dope. I feel like you can hear the definite influences of jazz and soul coming through your beats, especially like the way you choose your beat, like chord progressions and like the arrangements itself, like rhythmically speaking. Like I
Mhm.
know I know I sound a bit snobby, like I'm a bit like snobby, but I'm a sucker for jazz too. So when I hear like a bit of intricacy and like little details though, but they enhance so much to what you do. Honestly just love the things that you do and like the stuff that you come up with.
oh,
Such a
no.
Oh,
fan.
thank you,
I'm
thank you,
sorry.
thank you. I'm still learning. I'm still learning every day. I'm still trying to stay inspired, especially now during the COVID and
Mm.
lockdown.
How
Trying to stay
how
inspired.
how do you like? I know that you said earlier that your community, like your community of musicians and stuff, that's helping you maintain that inspiration. But what is it like? I feel like it's a personal thing, isn't it? That what is it that kept you going or is keeping you going in such a hard period for so many artists?
Yeah, especially this year is like been the hardest.
Yeah.
It's been so hard to stay inspired because I don't know what it is. It's just like I don't know. I don't know. This year's been really tough, but to stay inspired, I've been doing new things like just getting outside and stepping away from the studio and just getting outside and just doing different things. I know it's cliche,
No, but
No.
I find that really helps. You know
what
what
I'm
I find?
saying? It
You know what I
really
find
helps.
really helps, Keith? Is like this might sound really cliche as well, but like doing new hobbies. You know what I mean? Like
Start
Yeah,
something new from the
it
beginning.
works, man. It
Yeah.
works. I'm outside riding my bike every day. Well,
nice.
almost riding my bike, and then I do. I'm a big runner too. I run in the morning. and just
Oh.
listen to new music while I'm running, and then I'll just sit there in the sun, just soak up the sun, just like
Hey, come
start
on, wait.
meditating.
Come on, man.
Meditating,
Why
man.
would you say that now when we're like -5
Here in
here in
London,
London?
friggin'
And
hell,
every
it's
time
so
if you
cold.
go
Oh,
jogging,
yeah.
and if you go jogging,
You're
you're
freezing
gonna
to
freeze your
death.
balls off.
I feel bad for you guys. I couldn't do it, man.
Oh no, I didn't think I could either. Living like coming from like South America, Venezuela, like that's where we grew up, you know. And I literally lived 16 years there, and then I came to London, and I was like, I do not know how to handle this weather. It's
Yeah.
rainy, it's cold, it's wet, and I was like, I don't even know.
Have you ever had a chance to visit
London,
London?
yeah,
No, no. The closest I've been is Germany. I spent some time in Germany, and
that's
that
dope
was
though.
cool.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
Very cool. The only thing I've always said this to people, I think, because you're obviously in a warm part, so Christmas in a warm country or in a warm state, it's so different when you're celebrating Christmas in a cold country. You know,
Yeah, it's
it's
different.
so,
It's a different vibe, man. You got the snow, you got the snowflakes coming down.
and it's not only
Christmas
the
Yeah.
snow, but like
morning.
the people, Keith, are so
Hey, they're more reserved. They're
and
like they
family
keep, yeah.
orientated towards this time. And then in South America, it's party.
It's
Like
different.
it's
Like
Christmas is a party date. It's never
Mm, yeah, that's true. That's true. But
yeah.
I don't know. It just not me. Not for me. I usually, I'm an introvert, man. I just keep a close knit
Yeah.
family
yeah,
and with my immediate family, and then we just keep it chill. We just
that's
keep it chill. We
dope.
don't go out. Well, I'm at a point in my life where I'm not turning up and going partying. Like I don't party really.
Yeah,
Like I don't know. I just don't do it no more. That was me though. I was that guy, going out every week. But nowadays it's just me. I guess I'm getting older. I don't know.
you know what? I'm a no. I don't think it has anything to do with age or like personality or anything. I think it just depends on the person. Because even though back home, like the culture kind of pushes you to have like a lot of people. It's about the party.
Lots
Yeah.
of dancing.
It's a
Yes.
lot about a lot of dancing, a lot of drinking, and a lot of food. You think, I used to be like, oh, whenever we had a time, just my parents and us, and just a close environment, I would appreciate it so much more, like that little close
Moments.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
I feel like they're so
Yeah,
much
exactly.
much more meaningful than the whole big shebang,
Do you write, by the way? Do you like to
Do I
write?
write?
Oh,
No. But if I'm in the studio with an artist, I'm pitching ideas to him because I know how to flow.
yeah.
I know how where the words are supposed to go. Since I'm making the beat and the production.
Of
So,
course, yeah.
but
That's
that's why I need to
cool.
get in the studio more with artists. But this whole lockdown thing is not making that happen. Easy.
Well,
So.
I actually had the idea. It would be lovely to I don't know how we do it, because of the whole location stuff, but it'd be awesome to work on a project together
Definitely,
and share it and kind of bounce ideas off in and out and stuff like that. And
like the
Yeah.
whole process, like build something together. I would absolutely adore that.
maybe record even the process, like we're doing now with Zoom and stuff, record some of the process and maybe you record some of the bit how you do some of your editing and things like that. It would be such a,
Mhm.
it might be a cool concept to make a video from.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
love.
I'll send some. Yeah, I'll send some ideas. And my new thing now is I like when artists send me their acapellas, even
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
to like even to like old songs they don't really know what to do with yet. They'll send them to me, and I'll just build a beat around it.
that is
That's
such
kind
a
of
great
my new
idea.
thing.
Okay,
So if you
Keith.
have any, if
Damn.
you have
Oh,
any, if you have any
I'm on
raps,
fire.
man, or some vocals, man, I can remix them and just see if I can put some like spice on it or something. I don't
Look
Damn.
what
That's a good
you're getting me
idea.
excited. This dope.
That's a good idea.
I would love that. Honestly, we'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll talk. We'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, no, that's dope. Honestly, I love how creative minds work. Like, when you see people, because when we were little, we worked with, we were involved in the industry in Venezuela, so we had to work with a lot of like in-house producers and stuff like that, and seeing how different people and different producers work, it was always so fascinating to me. And I would love to see how you come up with the whole process, and
Yeah.
it's dope
We'll make a rap. Have you ever seen those things of like beats deconstructed in Genius? You know those things?
Man, I watch all of those beat making
Yeah,
videos. I
we'll,
watch
we'll
them all, man.
we'll make our own ones featuring a spaceman. Come on, we could do it.
And man, if you're ever in Las Vegas, man, we gotta link up. If I'm ever in
Oh,
London,
definitely.
pretty sure I'm gonna
Hit
get
us
there
up
one
if
day.
you come up to London.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Any projects coming up lately that you wanna shout out or anything?
I got a beat tape that's gonna drop on my birthday in January.
January
Nice.
date, brother. What date?
January 28th. It's gonna
28th.
drop. There's no title yet. I just know I have tracks in the vault. I just need to pick apart. So
Okay.
I just need to pick
Dope,
apart and
dope,
put it
dope.
together.
Instagram and stuff.
Instagram is at Spaceman SPVCEMAN Beats BEATS.
Gotcha. We'll
Spaceman
put it down
Beats.
regardless anyway.
Spaceman Beats. That's my social media. Spaceman Beats. You know,
Okay.
everywhere.
Nice.
Awesome.
I was going. Oh, you know, off topic.
Go on.
I was gonna say, who's the kid on your on your tag on your? It's so dope. I love it.
Yo, that's my daughter, Camille.
Oh,
Camille.
that's adorable, dude.
I know, right? It worked because for so long I was searching for that producer tag, right? And she kind of randomly did it when I was working on the beat and the microphone was on. She kind of said it and she said a lot. So I just kind of chopped up that little part. I chopped up that little part and it kind of works with every beat. So it's kind of like, okay, that's my tag.
It's
It
hard,
is.
bro. It's
It's
hard.
such a dope tag. Actually,
Thank you.
It's
that's
very
one of
bouncy actually. And now it makes it
I
makes so
love
much
it.
sense.
I say it to Efra all the, like randomly. I'm like, "Hey, you spaceman!" Out of nowhere, you know,
Keith,
like a catchphrase.
Yes, she does. Every time.
I love it. So, you know, it's great.
Thank you.
That's dope. Honestly, cool. Like the talent runs in the family, obviously.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have an album coming out with her sooner or later. I
Nice.
just gotta force her to record.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you find now that you have a daughter? Hey, how old is she, by the way?
Man, she's older, man. She's 13.
So I'd say, well,
She's 13.
but you know, you're a father, obviously. So when do you find we were talking about this, and I'm so eager to sort of hear from different heads, you know what I mean, especially creative people and stuff. Do you find that sort of creativity or propensity to create things, whether they're music or anything else, is kind of genetic, or do you think that comes more to your environment?
Oh, man, that's a little bit of both. A little bit of both, because there's kids out there that are like, what, 4 or 5, that are little Mozarts, you know, playing piano. Where does that come from? There's some type of energy source, you know what I'm saying? Not to get too deep, but there's sometimes a genetic DNA coding that's embedded in them. So, and then of course your environment inspires you. We all know that, you know.
Because then you mentioned that you know there was no your mom or dad weren't musicians. You know, they weren't making music themselves, but they were listening to music. So you could say you were sort of leaning more towards your nurture, you know, sort of your environment, that whole nature versus nurture argument, right? But then your daughter is sort of like such a good example would be of her environment is obviously going to be always surrounded by music and artists and microphones and beats.
That creative process overall.
So it's always been so intriguing to me, because you know we were listening to some singers before. One of the names is Dimash. He's this singer from Kazakhstan.
Oh, he's insanity.
And he's one of the, in my opinion, he's one of the best vocalists in the world right now. But he has a mix of classical training with opera training with pop as well. So
it's crazy.
The guy's bizarre. But the things he can do, it's like, even if you trained all your life to do those things and he's like 25 or something like that, it's like not everyone's going to be able to get this. So it's this sort of like genetic barrier, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's some you know, how do I say it? Divine, like, type of energy you pull into. Because sometimes I'm making a beat and I finish the beat. I'm like, how did I make that? I can't remake it. I can't, you know, it's just kind of like, wow, I just made that. I don't even know how I made it. Like, you know, it just comes from somewhere of inspiration. So all that plays a part, though. Genetics, you know, your background and your atmosphere, your surroundings.
Yeah.
All that mixed together, you know, you get a product. So
obviously, and then you take all the like the logical thinking out of it, and then you think about, you know, spicing it up with like things like muses, like how that creative energy kind of like flows through creative people. At least that's how I think about it. Like I feel like there is like this um like we're kind of vessels, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Like energy, like this type of like creative energy flows through you, and like you have to be in the right type of set mind, like mindset, to let that stuff flow. And that's when you find that you do stuff that you wonder, how the hell did I do that? And like you
exactly.
cannot replicate it either, you know. It's like that one time thing when all
Yep.
the stars aligned. It's dope though. So I think it's a creativeness, like, and being a creative is such a, to me, is such a, it goes beyond those logical thinking facts, you know. It goes a bit further than that. I
To
feel
some
like
extent,
there's
then a
so
bit,
much.
bit more. You could say a bit more spiritual to some extent,
Yeah, I
like
feel like
this
there's
idea
so
of.
much more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely spiritual, man. We're in being a creative, man. We're definitely like a little crazy, a little crazy,
Definitely.
a little weird, man. Because
Embrace your
man,
weirdness, dude, though.
yeah, we gotta embrace it. So
Yeah.
I was listening to Joe Rogan actually talk about this a bit. Um, I don't know if you follow his podcast, but he's like the biggest podcast in the world. You know Joe Rogan, right? And
yeah, I catch this podcast when I can. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and
He's good.
he was just talking about kind of that similar idea, you know, because in comedy, it's sort of this comedy is one of the most peculiar skill sets to have, because it's like this ability to create things and being so aware of people and feelings and emotions, and then being able to transmit them and
Translate them.
translate them
Mhm.
into words that cause an effect, like laughter.
On people,
And he
yeah.
was talking about this idea of the muse, right? Like you have to be in the right state. It's not just like you got to treat it with respect. You know
Yeah.
what are some of the, like, do you find, because obviously everyone has like that sort of creative state, right? Like, oh, this is, I have to, for example, for me sometimes cold showers help to like just sort of snap me out of the whole day and day stress, you know,
Hmm.
or sometimes I like to get myself really pumped up because it kind of goes hand in hand with rap. I doubt a classical musician would, you know, start bobbing their head up and down before they play Mozart. But what are kind of some of your what things
Like
put you in the right state?
rituals,
You know, you
yeah.
have a daughter, you have, you know, I'm sure you do stressful things all the time.
Oh
What's some of the
yeah,
secret state?
yeah. So I'm like I'm a hippie, man. Really with it. Like I started like when I made that decision and that jump to do this full time. Before that, I started like waking up early. Like I try to wake up at 5 o'clock every day, and
Brother,
as soon as I get up,
we cannot be friends, man. Oh my
hey
gosh.
man, hey, I have
The
to,
hustle.
I have to,
Jesus.
man, I have to because at that point, nobody else is up.
Right.
Mm.
I sound like a motivational video, but I
Nah,
watch
nah.
those
No,
motivational
go for
videos,
it.
man. I close on, I hit those motivational videos in the morning, do my stretching, do my little workout, and then I go for a run. And then, I just sit down and just be by myself and just, you know, thank the creator and just, get in the right mind state.
Right.
And then I ask for it. And, I say, give me this creative vision. I mean, I sound like a hippie.
No,
But
no.
No, dude,
it's what I do, man. That's what I do. I ask for creative visions and I ask for it. And then usually when I do that consistently, and I get that momentum going
Yes.
every day, things start happening, man. I connect with people like you and I get in this rhythm where I just pump out these beats and these creative videos and everything just meshes well. And if I don't do that, and if I lean towards the other side, like where I'm sleeping in. Personally, this works for me, but when I'm sleeping in and I'm doing these, watching TV too much and I'm
Right.
just on my phone, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm not doing these things, then I fall off and get into like a creative block and I just get right in this block.
I
That's what
think
happens personally with me.
no,
So
I think that is so important though. Like I think a lot of people don't take the time to really figure out what the right equation, like the
yeah.
right mindset for them, like the right routine for them is. Like it took me quite a bit of time as well, because I broke my back. Like I had a back injury, and prior to that, I was training in dance, professional dance training, and musical theater performing. And
Mhm.
so having that injury kind of like pushed me over the edge to focus whole time, like full time on creating my own stuff. And because like my dance career went out the window basically, so I had to like figure out a way to make money out of what I could do still, and that process of learning what kind of routine from being at home, working from home, not having to, you know, access the outside world so often because you don't have to commute into work, because you don't have to do these things. There was a period there where I didn't understand what was right, like for me and like my creative process. And like you said, it's like finding, that waking up at 5 o'clock works for you, like it's like is like, oh, physical activity works for you. And it's the change of diet, is seeing the world in a different perspective. And it all takes a lot of like personal self-discovery, I feel, so I totally relate to you. And like
Yeah.
the way that you do stuff, that's dope though. It's cool. Thanks for sharing it.
Thanks for you're welcome. Thanks for sharing your that's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
man. Are you better now? Is your back better now?
Yeah, no, I'm 100% better now. Like, but like I dislocated 3 discs in like the lower part of my back, and I lost all sensation on the left side of my leg. Like on my left side, I couldn't feel nothing down that leg, and
It was a rough time.
it was very difficult. It was tough, but as I was getting better, I used to think, oh, it's just physical. This is just physical. I can still sing. And I found myself with that I couldn't sing the same way I used to. And it was a whole like process to trying to come to an understanding to the whole situation. But thank God I'm all better now. I'm bouncing around. I'm
Yeah.
dancing everywhere I can.
Yeah, that's good. That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a little slight back pain. I'm always like, dang. I mean, I can't imagine having 3 discs. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, they were shifted real out of place, and it was tough. It was tough.
You know what though? It goes so much deeper than that, and I like the fact, Keith, that you mentioned. I'm a huge believer of exercise, not only because I trained as full-time tennis player, so it's kind of like it's part of my routine. But I'm such a believer that like especially for creatives, I see you guys like in a completely different category because your minds, I can see it. I was first a musician, yes, but I went down the athletic route way more harder when, in my adolescent years where you kind of, figure out who you are. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I can like, having such an artist at home, like a singer and someone who's like always creating and all this stuff, I can see like I'm different than her. You know what I mean? It's like, it's completely bizarre.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed is, and it's really interesting you mentioned it, is exercise and basically just getting your shit together really helps with this idea of the muse,
Productiveness.
of
Yeah.
that kind of light hitting you more often and
Mm.
doing things more often and listening to, it sounds cliche, like you said, like listening to motivational things, putting yourself in that positive side of living. It really, really helps. And I notice it not only in my friends, but in people like you. And now you're reassuring my theory because before I was just testing it, and it does when you put yourself in motion often, it
Yeah,
all
man.
creates this, like you're giving back that energy and it just hits you back with ideas.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like, wow, where did this come from? Okay, I'm making this momentum. You're just it's I believe in momentum so much, man.
I agree.
Like so much. The more you do, the more you put out, the more love you show. Um, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back, tenfold, like 100% of the time. And if you don't you put that negative energy out there, that's gonna come back too, in one way or another. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you gotta be mindful of that too. And you guys know that.
Yeah. But
I'm pretty sure because you guys are consistent, man. You guys are so consistent. So I know, like being a creator and what I do, I know there's some type of routine that you guys do, and I love that about you guys because it's so inspiring, man. Like
Oh no, thank you. Honestly.
behind the scenes stuff, I'm pretty sure you guys are like working your asses off, man. That's crazy.
Hey,
it's
we do put up a little crazy amount of work, just a little
no,
crazy.
she's awesome, dude. You're amazing at that. Like one of the things, especially this year, because not only because of the I think you had to learn because of the back injury, like how to figure
So
out.
like the pandemic didn't hit me as hard as it did you. Like
Yeah,
I
so
feel like
to me, the whole lockdown stuff here in London, because we just did our second one.
yeah, we've been twice on lockdown.
Competing was out of the window. Photo shoots were out of the window. Being what I usually do is I train with other people, so that was out of the window because you're not in the same bubble and all that stuff. So I was basically just out, for the first time in years,
Years,
and no
yeah.
more traveling and being on the road or anything like that. And there were some benefits, I could finally eat at home, Keith, and there's nothing better than that. Could eat some home food, homemade
Yeah.
food, you know. Um,
Well, you're traveling doing.
tennis.
Oh, dang, for real?
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, so you
But
you was really out there, a tennis like professional tennis player.
so I didn't make it to the tour, right? So I never was on the ATP tour. But I
Yeah.
went full time when I was 15, training all the
Right.
time. And what the path I decided to take, the problem with tennis is, not to get too deep into this, but the problem with tennis is it's very difficult to make money unless you're at the top of the game. Kind of similar to most things, to be
I
honest.
see. I see.
But it's such a investment based
Forward, yeah.
sport
Yeah.
that you gotta make a big investment to then start traveling the world, start playing futures, which is like elite level stuff. And then before that, on top of that, there's other tournaments. On top of that, there's the ones where people are earning millions and
The whole
stuff.
grind.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's very investment heavy. So one of the things a lot of full timers or upcoming pros do is they provide their services, as hitting partners, or they teach people, or they either work with other pros, and that's kind of what I was on. And then I added modeling to that to try and the back pocket become a bit.
Okay,
Um,
got you.
and if you can't travel, or I can't be anywhere in England or the UK or anywhere, it was really rough. And then the thing I noticed was that you already had like a routine set up.
Yeah.
So
Like
it's not me when it comes to consistency. She's unbelievable at it.
thanks. No, but I feel like I had to figure that out when I was injured, because I literally, my whole life depended on being at home. I couldn't walk for too much. I couldn't do much physically. So everything was from the computer. I was doing everything from at home. So when the lockdown came and this whole pandemic and this whole thing and the world went upside
You were
down,
ready.
I was kind of living like
Yeah.
that for 2 years prior. Like,
Like, I'm ready. I've been quarantined.
like, bring it on.
Right?
And I actually found it difficult because a little bit at the beginning, like those first 2 months of being, everybody was locked inside, having the whole family in the house at the same time as I was working was
Look at Keith.
Yeah.
it was such a shock. I was like, I cannot do it. Like, why is
Can't
everybody
work like this.
so loud? Everybody's on top of the keyboard.
How do you cope with that, Keith? You got a daughter and stuff.
Man, you just gotta cope. You just gotta do it. It's all the choice,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, but
It's all the choice.
it is hard though, right? Am I right? It's hard.
It's tough. That was my hardest part, man. Just not being able to, just having a routine before the quarantine, just having a routine and living with people who had their own routine.
That's right.
That got all mixed up. So
Yeah.
everything got thrown off that first 3-4 months of the quarantining. So I don't know. You just gotta adapt. That's what we do.
That's
though.
right.
You
That's
adapt.
right. Are you still guys like locked in lockdown and stuff, or are you like restrictions?
Nah. It's weird. It's like, I know LA is locked down completely.
Uh-huh.
Las Vegas, you can still go around. You still go out and shop and go to restaurants. You just have to sit outside, stuff like that.
Right.
Dine outside. But it's whack. I stay at home. So.
It's bad.
I stay home most of the time anyway.
Yeah. But what about the school and stuff? Like, how's your daughter dealing with school? Is she online schooling, or is
We have her doing homeschooling anyway before that, so it was kind of normal. Nothing really changed as far as
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, brother, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Honestly,
Absolutely
what a
loved it.
pleasure.
Thanks for
That
having me,
was so
man. You guys are awesome.
So 28th of January, your birthday, and
28th of January. Beat tape. Just a
Ooh,
quick little beat tape available everywhere. I'm gonna promote it. So
Absolutely,
it's gonna
absolutely.
be lo-fi.
ooh, we
I'm gonna
love
tag that in
that.
there.
Nice.
Lo-fi vibes and just vibe out music. You know,
Okay,
heading
you
out of music.
okay, people. 28th of January, Keith Spaceman. Check him out. We'll leave all his stuff. And
Absolutely.
absolute pleasure to have you, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Peace
Thank you.
out.
Peace.
All the best, brother.